All right, hello, and thank you for joining us. My name is Justin Flemmer. I run the sales team here at Dorado Software, and I'm going to spend a few moments talking about our single pane of glass view for campus wired and wireless infrastructure management via our Cruz Operations Center product. I'd like to start out by covering our core mission here at Dorado Software. We've developed the Cruz Operations Center product to effectively collapse operational silos. We're looking to eliminate the need for multiple costly and inefficient management platforms and allow for complete cross-platform visibility, whether it be to manage legacy environments or to assist with integration of new solutions. Now, speaking specifically to our wireless and wired campus network management use case, Dorado has partnered with Ruckus and Dell to develop a best-of-breed solution looking to provide a single pane of glass view into your entire campus network. Our goal is to bridge the gap between the N-Series devices and the Ruckus access points while providing customizable dashboards for one-stop monitoring and configuration. I'm going to pass the presentation over to Bill Acevedo, our product manager for the CruzOC platform. Bill is going to provide a demonstration of those customizable Ruckus dashboards.
All right, everyone, thank you for joining. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, good. Today I'm going to walk through, as Justin mentioned, the Ruckus wired and wireless dashboard that we've created. We've always supported the Ruckus infrastructure, especially around Zone Director and the Unleashed platforms. This is more specifically related to integration with the Smart Zone controller, which is being paired up with the N-Series switches. So I'm going to start this demo off showing you how you're going to have visibility at a high level to all of your infrastructure on the wired and wireless side, and then we'll drill into some of the specific dashboards for managing that infrastructure. So what you're seeing here is a common screen that we support. Once you pull in all of your Ruckus equipment, we're going to be able to display that on a graphical or a Google Map sort of layout, similar to what you see here. In this case, we're simply going out to a Smart Zone controller and we are pulling in all the information about all the APs and all their locations and providing us the ability to display them on this sort of a map. Now you can get as granular as a Google Map. We're drilling into a smaller area and then maybe even a smaller area going down to like an exhibit hall. What you're going to notice throughout the demo is a common feature of the product where we're getting context-driven applications. So as I click on a screen or a portion of the screen or a particular row in a table, I'm getting context of the infrastructure in this case or alarms related to that area. So I'm seeing the alarms here on the bottom and I'm seeing the managed resources. Now from here, you can do all sorts of things against the devices in terms of interrogating it for other things. All the features here are available to you at a simple right click. The other view here is on our topology map where we can actually show you the linkage between your infrastructure. In this case, we want to see the actual links between devices. Now, a common example here might be something like a sales office. Maybe we have a specific node and we're using our hierarchy structure here on the left here to group our devices and apply them to a specific location. And so what you're seeing here is maybe a background of an image that you can impose on your own. That's more contextual for what this location is. And then you can move your devices around, your APs or your switches or whatever's in that location appropriate to what you need to see here. But it's giving you that context-driven feel so that you can see the alarms and the events in this particular location. You're also seeing the links related to those particular devices. And so as the link goes down or something happens, you'll be able to see that on these screens. So you're going to see things not only related to the device reporting alarms. In this case, it could be Smart Zone telling us that there's an issue with an AP, but it could also be something that we're monitoring independently. Maybe it's against a switch that's associated to one of the APs, but you'll see those kind of alarms roll up here as well. And again, you have the alarms and the managed resources down here allowing you to interrogate those kinds of things. Now, the next slide is particularly important because it really highlights what we're trying to accomplish here. So what we're seeing here is just a very basic case of an N-Series device, and it's attached to a Ruckus. Now, you can, again, put these background images on here, but the main thing is we're seeing this link now. And so despite the fact that we're going to Smart Zone and getting information, we're able to also discover the N-Series device and draw that link and that connection, allowing us to manage and monitor this device in that context. On the next page, this is our operations panel. And this is where you can do a lot of your diagnostics and looking at your infrastructure and determining various things. Let me show you how this works. At the top here, we have that same managed resources portlet that we saw on the other pages. But now we're seeing just the specific Ruckus infrastructure. These are either things that are Ruckus devices, they're either like a smart zone controller, or they're devices or switches that are attached to our Ruckus APs. And so for an example here, I'll show you my smart zone, my virtual smart zone appliances here. I will click that, and you notice as I click that, the other pages or portlets on the page are updating to show me infrastructure related to that device. So as I click the smart zone, I'm seeing the associated infrastructure here, meaning the other APs that are attached to these devices. And so all of these were pulled in from the smart zone. And so I have access to them. I have access to the alerts that are being sent on those devices. I can come into these with a right-click option and do a variety of diagnostics or exercising of the features that are available through the product. Things like running actions. Maybe I want to get information about a specific AP. Maybe I want to get client info. There's all sorts of actions we can do here to get that sort of information, either to show information or even configure it. At the same time, as I click an AP, the screen down below is going to show us the wireless LANs that are associated. These are your SSIDs that are associated to that particular AP. With the right-click option here, I can interrogate this wireless LAN. I can go and provide configuration commands or show commands through the actions framework to see various pieces of information. I can even go down and get traffic analyzer support related to this particular wireless LAN. Down below, you're going to see the wired and wireless clients. So you may have devices that are attached, either physically wired to a switch. A client can be physically wired, or you might have obviously a wireless client. And it's the same thing here. You can right-click here and get information about that particular client, run actions relative to getting information about that client. We even have performance here where you can get performance data related to them and various other things. In the center part here, you're going to have other portlets related to more appropriate for the switch, I suppose, I would say. So I can click on a N-Series switch that's part of this infrastructure, and we can immediately see that the screens populate to show me, again, I'm seeing the associated infrastructure. So I can click on a switch and I can immediately see the APs attached. I can see the other switches that are also attached to this particular switch. So you may have a case where you need to update your switches, put a new firmware on it, and when you deploy that, you're going to need to reboot it. Well, this allows you to see what APs are affected. You can see what wireless LANs are affected, even what clients are affected. And so maybe you can be a little more strategic in how you do that kind of thing. So you have that kind of visibility. You're also going to see all of the ports. For example, I clicked on the N-Series. I'm seeing all the ports associated to this switch. I'm seeing all the configuration files related to this switch. And I'm even seeing down here below images that we can deploy to these. If we want to do a deployment of a firmware to that switch, I can just do a right click and deploy and push that firmware out to that switch, or I can select multiple switches if I need to. Some of the common features here are things like, again, running those action scripts. If you want to push a command onto the switch, you may have a case where you need to put a certain VLAN on a port where an AP is attached, a Ruckus AP. You can simply run an action here to go and configure that VLAN right out of the box, and it will put that on that switch. And you can do this across multiple switches if you need to update multiple all at the same time. Other features include things like drift detection, where we're scanning your configuration files to make sure that they haven't changed. And if they are changed, you're going to be notified. And there's ways to hook that into automation for automatic email notification or texting to let you know. You can even run policies against your switches. If you have standardized configuration against those ports that have the APs attached, you can easily set up a policy to make sure that they are configured in the correct and proper way. And if they're not, you will be notified either through an alarm or through an email or a text. Other things include direct access to these devices if you need to troubleshoot, through mid-browser terminal sessions, or even if you want to go to the device's web interface, that's available to you here. I did fail to mention on the Smart Zone, you can also cut through directly to the Smart Zone UI if you need to. It's the same sort of cut through sort of behavior. A variety of other things in here, all the way down to getting performance on the device. You can get performance on the device at the top level or even at the top talker, so you can see the most chatty interfaces that your APs may be attached to, or even key metrics for the device if there's performance concerns. You can even come in here and show this endpoint. Like, for example, maybe you have a port or a device, you want to see all of the traffic flow as a single endpoint. Well, you can show those graphs just with a right click here. It'll pop up all the graphs related to traffic flow. We'll see some more of that in one of the last panels I'm going to show you today. Down below here, you're going to see the alarms related to this particular device that I clicked on. And as I mentioned below here, there's reporting that we can do across all of these this infrastructure. You can see the if you just want to see the N-Series switches, if you want to see the switches within the APs attached, if you want to see just your wireless devices, there's all sorts of pre-built reports for you in terms of an inventory asset and firmware versioning for you to access. Now, I mentioned some of the actions that we could run. And down below here, you'll see there's a variety of actions here. There's things we can do, as I mentioned here, we can do things like showing the wireless clients or getting clients or getting client info, show AP traffic, radio info, all sorts of things that are accessible when you select those devices and right-click and execute here. We can even go out and configure an AP directly simply by going to the configure AP option here. And we click on that, and then we'll just execute it just as an example here. And what I want to do is come in here and put in the Ruckus, find my Ruckus devices that I want to configure an AP on, maybe select one here and just say add selection done here. And now I'm provided a UI that will let me configure just about any aspect of that AP. Okay, moving over to the performance page. This page is designed to give you that a health dashboard for your wired and wireless infrastructure. And so what we're seeing here on the left are KPIs. You're seeing things related to CPU, memory, and the slowest pinging devices. So the things that are going to show up here are the things that it's a top end sort of layout. I don't have a lot going on in my lab here, so you're only seeing a few devices, but you're seeing the highest level of CPU, what devices are showing the highest level of CPU usage or memory usage or the slowest pinging devices. And then of course, you're gonna have right-click options here to interrogate those devices and maybe troubleshoot whatever you think you need to troubleshoot there to do those show commands or direct access or whatever you need to do there. In the middle here, we have indicators for errors and interface statistics. So we're seeing interface errors. So you're going to see the APs or the switches that have the most errors on them. Again, alerting you to the fact that maybe the port on that particular switch may be constrained in some way, and maybe it's going to start affecting your APs or your clients on those APs. So something you need to look at. All of these have built-in thresholding and conditions and alerting that will let you know when things are happening. So you don't have to be looking at this dashboard. So you do have that kind of notification to you as well. In the middle here, we see interface bandwidth. This is the highest usage of your interfaces. So you're going to see which ones, as they start to go above 70, 80, 90%, you'll start getting red or yellow indicators indicating that this is something you should be looking at. Similarly for packet loss or bandwidth received or transmitted bandwidth, items that are letting you know that there's some things going on with your devices. As part of a dashboard, you may want to know what traffic is flowing across your APs or across your switches. So generally, the traffic flow application is a sampling protocol where you can sample ports. And so what we're sampling here is ports that have APs attached to them. At the top level here, we're seeing the device as a whole, a switch, and down below here, we're actually seeing the ports that are on here. Now, some of this is simulated devices, but normally you would see the N-Series switch and the port name here showing you what ports are being monitored, and you can drill into those deeper. So I can, for example, drill into this switch here and to interrogate more what's going on. So what this allows me to do is then see my traffic over the course of some time period. I can modify my time period. Maybe I just want to see the last 6 hours, or maybe I want to see the last 5 days. So depending on what you want to see, you can see the peaks and valleys in your graph, letting you know maybe where your traffic is peaking and where maybe there's less traffic. But you can also do more than that. So you may want to know what's going on in terms of the applications flowing across this switch. I can simply click that applications there and refresh it, and now I'm seeing that same time frame, but now I'm seeing the applications that are utilizing all that bandwidth and that traffic. I'm seeing traps and some BitTorrent and some World Wide Web and Telnet, etc. I may want to know not only what they are, I may want to know who is using that. So I can go into my conversations, and now I'm seeing all of that same traffic, but now it's in the context of the endpoints, the IP endpoints. So this could be a client attached to an AP, or it could be just some endpoint that's out there that we've detected and is being pulled into this traffic flow graph. So I can see my BitTorrent is going between 10.0.0.2 and 10.0.0.3. So that gives me some useful information. You may have a situation where a client, using the wireless is complaining of a problem, maybe slowness at a certain time of day. Well, I can go into my search option here and I can say I want to see all the graphs related to that endpoint. So I could put in a full or partial IP and search for that. Maybe I'll do 10.0.0.2. And now it's going to show me some possible endpoints. And I can click on this icon here. Now it's going to show me just the graph that has the data for that endpoint. You'll notice that here 10.0.0.2 is my endpoint here. So now I can see that data where it spikes and where it's less volume here. But then I can interrogate that further and say, okay, show me the applications flowing across that endpoint or that have that IP in it. And so now I'm seeing that graph. Or I can say, let's show me the conversations now of just the data with that endpoint in it. So now I'm seeing 10.0.0.2 and all of the graphs related to it and where it's sending traffic to and from. And so you see mainly traps, some BitTorrent here and that sort of thing. Or maybe you have a case where, you want to know who's using all the video or all the BitTorrent. Well, I can put in a full or partial protocol here or port name and find the protocol or what I'm looking for, and then say, show me all the graphs related to that. And now I'm seeing, just in the context of the BitTorrent, I'm seeing all the traffic and where it's spiking and that sort of thing. And then I can interrogate that a little further here to see things like conversations and who's using all the BitTorrent against 10.0.0.2 to 10.0.0.3. So it gives you that capability to really get a very granular view of what kind of stuff is flowing across your network and maybe help you in some sort of planning. Could be used for capacity planning. If you want to see if your data is escalating over time, you can come in here and say, show me a particular AP for the last 12 months, what kind of data I'm getting. Maybe you'll see data, traffic going up or traffic going down, maybe allowing you to make some decisions about your infrastructure. So in a nutshell, that is our dashboard for the Ruckus wired and wireless infrastructure. I think I will pass that back to you, Justin.
Okay. All right, thank you, Bill. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. You'll see on the slide deck here that my contact name and information is listed. Please feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions or would like to see a more in-depth demo on our wired and wireless campus solution. In addition, our website is listed at the bottom here, where you can find additional information on not just this particular solution, but on all of our solutions here at Dorado Software. Thanks again for attending.